Good afternoon, and welcome to our webcast on using indicators to trade channel breakouts, one in a series of live events produced by Trader Planet in collaboration with well-known industry personalities. Today is Tuesday, June 8th. Thank you for joining us today. This is Darrell, your host for today's session featuring Darrell Jobman, a senior analyst for TraderPlanet.com. Today's webcast takes place at a specific date and time, and therefore any opinions given by our presenter may change without notice at any time. Please also keep in mind that trading involves substantial risk of loss and therefore may not be suitable for all investors, and past performance is not indicative of future results. We are recording this webcast and it will be posted on Trader Planet, so you will be able to review the material at a later time. You will also find previously recorded webcasts among our other free member education resources within our site at www.TraderPlanet.com. Our esteemed presenter, Darrell Jobman, trades his own personal account and has been involved in the financial markets for more than 40 years. A decorated Vietnam War veteran, he was a newspaper farm editor and editor of several agricultural publications before becoming an editor of Futures magazine for more than 15 years. He has written and edited more than a dozen books and courses on trading. While his passion is helping others succeed by teaching the do's and don'ts of trading, his editorial contributions to Trader Planet has really allowed him to take this objective to a whole new level. We're happy to have him with us today. Let's give a warm welcome to our friend, Darrell Jobman.
Thank you very much for that introduction, Darla. First thing I'd like to do is a few housekeeping items, and the first that we like to do always when we start to make sure everybody can hear me is an audio check. If you would go down to that little man that has his hand raised at the lower left side of your screen, you'll see there's a menu there. And if you can hear me, everything's coming through fine and so forth, click on I agree. That'll put some check marks in there to indicate that I'm coming through. Okay, we're seeing some check marks. Looks like we're coming through. Audio is good, which is always good to know. Now, while you're there, we're going to clear that, and I'd just like to find out from that we do have type of trading that you do, what you use in terms of your analysis and so forth. And if you are a chart trader, consider yourself a chart analyst, and that is as opposed to fundamentals or so forth when it comes to stocks or any of the markets. If you are a chart analyst, that describes you, then click on I agree. Okay, do we have people that are chart analysts? Follow the charts regardless of how you did. Okay, looks like we have some chart people. So some of the things that I say you are already probably going to be quite familiar with. You may already have some insights of your own, but we'll try to add a few things if we can and pass along a few different items to you that can be useful in your own trading. Also on the housekeeping line, I'll let you know that our data is provided by CRB. That's what we'll be using in the charts that I show you a little bit later. And if you are interested in a more detailed look, you might want to switch your computer to the full screen mode when we do get to the charts, because that'll allow you to see them a little better. Questions on the left side that you can answer or ask any questions, and I'll try to answer them at the end of the presentation when we are through and try to answer questions about some of the subjects that I have covered. Today's topic that we're going to be talking about in a series of webinars that we have been presenting on Trader Planet is the breakout. Now, there are lots of different kinds of breakouts that we're going to talk about. This little just jumped out of the egg. His new life is starting, and that's kind of the way it is. But traders, when you get a breakout, you start a new something or other, and that's the goal of the trader, to attempt to catch the breakout. Of course, we have breakouts of trend lines. We have chart patterns, the various triangles and flags and so forth where there are breakouts. You have previous highs and lows that are breakouts, moving averages. There are various types of ways you can use those kind of breakouts. As you know, in the stock market, they frequently look at the 50-day or 200-day moving average or something else. But a lot of ways you can use those as kind of a breakout signal. Even individual candles can be a breakout type of a clue. You have pivot points, all kinds of channels and bands. We aren't going to be able to cover all of them, but I'll tell you a little bit about the way I look at it and what I look at when I'm talking about the breakout as it refers to getting into and out of positions. Obviously, the thing that we would like to be able to do is get a reversal, catch a reversal into a trend, whether it is a topping or bottoming action. We can go long or short with the markets that we're talking about, although in stocks we're probably more likely to be going long than short. Then within that trend, as it extends, typically we're talking about some type of little counter trend move that occurs within that trend. It's a sideways movement, it's a congestion area, it's a pause, a little flag, a number of different things that you can say that you are looking at in terms of a chart pattern. And those breakouts can also be good clues for getting into a position or adding to a position or even getting out of a position. A lot of things you can read in those kind of those mid-trend, counter-trend moves. And then you have the reversals out of the trends, of course, which is a topping or bottoming action, also depending on what you got in and where you're trying to take profit before that profit evaporates. When we look at the various things that we have to trade, we are constantly looking at the whoops, we've got a wrong thing here. Go to documents. That's the right one here. Okay. We are looking at a lot of kind of vague things when we're looking at charts. We're talking about the trend lines and what exactly is a breakout when you're talking about a trend line, and are we looking at something that is a true breakout, or are we looking at something that is kind of a fake out and not a breakout? We're going to look at some of the various charts that we're going to be looking at and talking about how to catch some of the moves that we're talking about when it does come to the breakout type of a situation. I've put several different charts up here we're going to just kind of run through because these are charts that have had some interesting price action, especially recently. This is a copper chart, a continuous copper chart. You go back a year or so, you see that W on the bottom. You have the breakout above that W high, and that is a clue to go long. You have various other formations that you can see in there. You have trend lines that you can potentially draw in there where you can see that. The point on this particular chart, and we're not going to spend a lot of time on it on copper because it's, each chart that we do could be a story of its own and we don't have time to cover them all. But you will note that copper has now dropped to an area below the previous low here, which suggests if you're familiar with copper as an economic indicator because of its heavy involvement in so many aspects of the economy, being in a potential downtrend indicates perhaps an economic recessionary type of a feeling. Copper is that type of an indicator, but it has made a breakout to the downside. Look at the E-mini. The E-mini 500, it's a little bit similar in a lot of the ways. You can see that little W at the bottom here, sort of a W, market moves up, but you can also see that we're at a point right now where we're almost below this low here and threatening it. We have, nicked that area and come back to it. So we can't say that it has, definitely turned down, but it looks like we are at a point where it's decision time. It's kind of that line in the sand that has to be drawn, whether the stocks are going, the stock indexes, this is the S&P 500 E-mini, whether it is going to go into a downtrend. And then, of course, you have a market that everybody has been following recently, and that is the Eurex.